Before you open your eyes fully, understand this. Your life is decided before most people even wake up, not by luck, not by talent, not by motivation, by control. And the first place control is either claimed or surrendered is the morning. The morning does not care who you think you are. It reveals who you actually are. If the first thing you do after waking is react, you've already lost. If you reach for your phone, you've already submitted. If you rush, panic, scroll, negotiate, delay, you didn't start the day. The day started you. Control the morning, or the world will control you for the next 16 hours. Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they are disorganized internally. Their mind wakes up scattered. Their body wakes up tense. Their attention wakes up hijacked. And once that happens, everything becomes harder than it needs to be. They spend the whole day trying to fix a problem that started in the first 10 minutes. You don't need more discipline at noon. You needed it at sunrise. The morning is brutal because it strips you of excuses. You can't blame your boss. You can't blame traffic. You can't blame the system. It's just you, your breath, your body, your choices. Raw, unfiltered. And that's why people avoid it. They avoid silence because silence exposes disorder. They avoid stillness because stillness reveals anxiety. They avoid mornings because mornings demand leadership, not comfort. But here's the truth. No one wants to hear, if you cannot lead yourself when it's quiet, you will never lead yourself when it's loud. The strongest people don't wake up motivated. They wake up decided. Decision removes debate. Debate drains energy. And energy wasted early is energy you never get back. The average person wakes up already behind. Not because the day is demanding, but because they surrendered their attention immediately. Notifications, messages, news, other people's problems, other people's emotions, other people's urgency. They let strangers dictate their internal state before they've even stood up. That is weakness disguised as normal behavior. You cannot build a strong self on borrowed urgency. The mind in the morning is unguarded. Whatever enters first sets the tone. Chaos in equals chaos out. Noise in equals distraction all day. Fear in equals anxiety later. This isn't philosophy. It's conditioning. If you don't consciously choose the first input of your day, someone else will. And they will not choose in your best interest. Control begins with restraint. Restraint from noise. Restraint from stimulation. Restraint from the illusion that you need to know everything immediately. You don't. What you need is alignment. Alignment between breath and body. Between intention and action. Between who you say you want to be and what you actually do when it's inconvenient. The morning is where integrity is tested daily. Every time you hit snooze, you fracture self-trust. Every time you delay the hard thing, you reinforce avoidance. Every time you choose comfort over command, you teach your nervous system that resistance wins. And over time, that becomes identity. You don't wake up weak one day. You practice weakness quietly until it feels normal. But the opposite is also true. When you wake up and immediately do something intentional, something physical, something grounding, something uncomfortable, you send a different message. You tell your system, I decide, I lead, I move first. That message echoes all day. Morning movement is not about fitness. It's about authority. Authority over the body. Authority over hesitation. Authority over the voice that says, later. A later is a lie the undisciplined mind tells itself to feel safe. There is no later. There is only now, and now is either claimed or wasted. The body responds instantly to early movement. Blood flows. Joints wake up. The nervous system shifts out of sleep mode. You become present, not excited. Present. Presence is power. Most people chase motivation because they've never felt presence. They want energy without grounding. Intensity without control. That always ends in burnout. Control the morning, and you don't need hype. You don't need loud music. You don't need someone screaming in your ears to get moving. You become self-starting. That's dangerous, in the best way. Dangerous because you stop being dependent on external triggers. Dangerous because you stop waiting to feel ready. Dangerous because you act while others are still thinking. The mind respects early action. When you do the hard thing first, it stops arguing later. It knows resistance didn't work. That's how excuses die, not through reasoning, but through irrelevance. Silence in the morning is not empty. It's charged. In silence you can hear your real state. Are you tense? Are you restless? Are you avoiding something? Most people drown that awareness immediately. They don't want to know. Because knowing demands responsibility. But responsibility is not a burden. It's leverage. When you take responsibility for your state early, you gain influence over the rest of the day. You stop being a victim of mood swings. You stop blaming circumstances for your lack of focus. You become accountable. Accountability is not punishment. It's clarity. Clarity simplifies everything. When the morning is clear, decisions become fewer. You don't wake up asking, what should I do today? You already know. The routine exists. The order is set. Execution replaces confusion. Confusion is exhausting. Order is calming. This is why controlled mornings reduce anxiety more than any technique ever will. Anxiety thrives in unpredictability. Morning structure removes unpredictability at the source. You don't need to control the whole day. You only need to control the first part. Momentum handles the rest. Momentum is created by action without negotiation. The undisciplined mind negotiates everything. Should I get up? Should I train? Should I focus? Should I try? That constant internal debate drains more energy than work ever could. The disciplined mind eliminates negotiation by deciding in advance. Decision is freedom. Preparation the night before is part of morning control. Late nights, overstimulation, endless scrolling, they steal from the morning. And the morning always collects its debt. You can't cheat sleep. You can't cheat recovery. You can't cheat physiology. The body keeps score. Respect the night, and the morning becomes cooperative. Abuse it, and the morning becomes hostile. This isn't moral. It's mechanical. The morning doesn't need to be long. It needs to be intentional. 10 minutes done properly beats an hour done distracted. Breath, movement, order, that's it. Anything beyond that is extra. But those basics done daily reshape identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who leads their day instead of chasing it. That belief changes how you approach challenges. You don't panic as quickly. You don't crumble under pressure. You trust yourself to respond. Trust is built through repetition, not affirmation. Every controlled morning is a vote for the person you are becoming. Enough votes, and the identity becomes permanent. This is why mornings feel hard at first. You are dismantling an old identity, one built on reaction, avoidance, and comfort. The old self resists. It wants the familiar chaos. It wants distraction. It wants excuses. Let it complain. Control is not about silencing resistance. It's about acting despite it. You don't wait for the mind to agree. You move, and the mind follows or gets left behind. Over time, the resistance grows quieter. Not because it's gone, but because it's been ignored too many times to matter. That's mastery. Morning mastery is not loud. It doesn't post about itself. It doesn't seek validation. It's private, internal, ruthlessly consistent. And because it's private, it's powerful. No one sees the moment you choose not to scroll. No one applauds when you breathe instead of panic. No one congratulates you for moving your body while it's still stiff and tired. But those moments compound. By mid-morning, you feel different. Not euphoric, stable, alert. While others are already depleted, you are just getting started. That advantage grows with time. The morning is where you either build resilience or dependency. Dependency on caffeine. Dependency on motivation. Dependency on external pressure. Resilience comes from self-direction. When you control the morning, you reduce emotional volatility. Small problems don't feel catastrophic. Delays don't feel personal. You don't take everything as a threat. Your nervous system is regulated early, so it doesn't overreact later. This is why discipline looks calm from the outside. It's not tense, it's settled. People mistake this for confidence, but it's deeper than that. It's self-coherence. Your actions match your values. Your values match your behavior. There's no internal contradiction draining you. Contradiction is exhausting. Alignment is energizing. The morning is where alignment is easiest to create because interference is lowest. Fewer voices, fewer demands, fewer distractions. That window is sacred. Waste it, and you spend the rest of the day trying to recover what you gave away. Protect it, and the day bends around you. You don't need to dominate your life. You need to dominate the start. The start sets the tone. The tone sets the pace. The pace sets the outcome. Control the morning, and you don't chase discipline later. Discipline becomes your baseline. This is not about becoming extreme. It's about becoming reliable. Someone who can be counted on by others, but but more importantly, by yourself. Self-respect is born in the morning, not when things are easy, but when it would have been easier to quit, delay, or distract. You earn it daily, quietly, without witnesses. That's why it lasts. This is not motivation. This is instruction. Take control early, or spend the rest of the day trying to take it back. This is where it begins. By the time the world starts demanding things from you, you've already answered the most important question: who's in control today? And because you answered it early, you don't need to keep answering it all day. That's the advantage most people never experience. When the morning is controlled, the rest of the day feels different, not easier, but cleaner. Problems still appear. Pressure still exists, but nothing feels chaotic. Nothing feels personal. You're not fighting the day, you're navigating it. Most people spend their lives in reaction mode. They wake up late, rush out the door, absorb noise, stress, opinions, and urgency. By noon, they're already depleted. By evening, they're numb. They call this normal. It's not normal. It's unmanaged. The unmanaged self is always tired because it's always responding. Responding to notifications, responding to emotions, responding to other people's expectations. There's no space, no buffer, no control. When you control the morning, you create that buffer. That buffer shows up first as pause. Something goes wrong, and instead of immediate irritation, there's a breath. Someone disrespects you, and instead of reaction, there's restraint. A plan falls apart, and instead of panic, there's recalibration. That pause is power. You didn't gain it in the moment. You trained it earlier, when the stakes were low. In silence, in stillness, in deliberate movement. What you practice early becomes automatic later. This is why controlled mornings don't just change your productivity. They change your temperament. You become harder to shake, less reactive, less emotional, more precise. And precision is dangerous, because now when you act, it's intentional. You don't waste energy on unnecessary conflict. You don't overextend to prove yourself. You don't chase validation. You move with economy. As the day unfolds, distractions will test you. Your phone, your impulses, old habits trying to reclaim control. But here's the difference: now you recognize them immediately. Recognition kills momentum of distraction. You don't need to fight urges. You just see them for what they are: noise. And noise doesn't command obedience. The mind only argues when it thinks it still has authority. Morning control quietly removes that authority. You already proved who's in charge. This shifts your self-image. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying to be disciplined and start seeing yourself as someone who keeps standards. That identity changes everything. Standards don't rely on motivation. They rely on consistency. If something matters, it happens, regardless of mood. That mindset spills into everything. Work becomes more focused. Conversations become more honest. Relationships become clearer. You stop tolerating chaos, not aggressively, but naturally. Clarity has gravity. People feel it when they're around you. They may not understand it, but they sense stability. You're not rushed. You're not scattered. You're not seeking approval. You're grounded. Grounded people don't need to dominate rooms. They change rooms just by being in them. Your energy becomes calm but firm, present but reserved. You listen more. You speak less. But when you do, it carries weight. That weight comes from self-trust. Self-trust is built in private moments. Moments where no one is watching. Moments like the morning. Every controlled morning deposits trust into your internal account. Every broken promise withdraws it. Over time, the balance becomes obvious. Most people are overdrawn. They don't trust themselves because they've given themselves every reason not to. They say they'll wake up early, and they don't. They say they'll focus, and they scroll. They say they'll change, and they delay. Control the morning, and that cycle breaks. You start keeping promises, not dramatic ones, but small, repeatable ones. Wake time, silence, movement, preparation. These small wins compound into unshakable confidence. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind that doesn't need reassurance. As evening approaches, something else becomes clear. You're tired, but not empty. There's a huge difference. Empty comes from chaos. Tired comes from effort. Effort feels good when it's chosen. You don't collapse into distraction at night because you're not running from the day. You faced it. You let it. You didn't spend 12 hours arguing with yourself. Sleep becomes deeper. Recovery becomes real. The nervous system finally relaxes. And when you wake up the next day, the cycle reinforces itself. This is how discipline becomes automatic, not forced. You don't need to be motivated tomorrow, because tomorrow already has a structure waiting for it. Structure removes anxiety. Most anxiety is not fear of failure. It's fear of disorganization. Fear that you don't know how to respond. Morning control answers that fear before it speaks. You know how to respond. You've practiced. This is the freedom most people never reach. Freedom from emotional whiplash. Freedom from mental clutter. Freedom from living at the mercy of circumstances. You still don't control everything. No one does. But you control the start, and the start controls the direction. Control the morning long enough, and the self changes permanently. Not overnight, not dramatically, but irreversibly. You become someone who moves with intention. Someone who doesn't need chaos to feel alive. Someone who can sit in silence without discomfort. That's real power. Loud. Not flashy, not performative. Controlled. And once you have it, nothing can take it from you. Because you built it when no one was watching. Control the morning. Control the self.